Okay, we'll start. Om Shuklam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavanam Dhyayet Sarvaviknopashantaye Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurus Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha दोर्भिर्युक्ता चतुर्भिस्फटिकमणिमयीम् अक्षमालां ददाना हस्तेनैकेन पद्मं सितमपि च शुकं पुस्तकं चापरेण भासा कुन्देन्दुशङ्खस्फटिकमणिनिभा भासमाना समाना सा मे वाग्देवतेयं निवसतु वदने सर्वदा सुप्रसन्ना कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं वाल्मीकेर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानादं को न याति परां गतिम् गोष्पदीकृतवाराशिं मशकीकृतराक्षसं रामायणमहामाला रत्नं वन्दे नीलात्मजम् यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकम् वैदेही सहितं सुरद्रुमतले हैमे महामण्डपे मध्ये पुष्पकमासने मणिमये वीरासने सुस्थितम् अग्रे वाचयति प्रभञ्जनसुते तत्त्वं मुनिभ्यः परं व्याख्यान्तं भरतादिभिः परिवृतं रामं भजे श्यामलम् नमोऽस्तु रामाय सलक्ष्मणाय देव्यै च तस्यै जनकात्मजायै नमोऽस्तु रुद्रेन्द्रयमानिलेभ्यो नमोऽस्तु चन्द्रार्कमरुद्गणेभ्यः. Okay, now from the next class onwards, that's from next Sunday onwards, each one of you also you can chant dhyanam. So I think by now everyone should know the dhyanam. If you want, I will share an audio also. So next class onwards, one by one, I will just allot. You can practice and chant dhyanam rather than me chanting it every time. All of you also can chant. Let us stick to this dhyanam only, what we have learned. There are a few people who are learning Sundarkandam, so that dhyanam is quite similar. Little you have differences. There are a few verses that are additional there here. A few verses are different. So whatever we are learning here, whatever we are chanting here in this class, the same shlokas you can chant as dhyanam. Okay, start. So last time we saw the different sacrifices that were performed.
You will be sharing this, no ma'am?
Yes, I will. Different yajnas. Dhyanam is already shared on the group. Kalpana ji checked that. Different yajnas that had to be done. We had seen all this from the Grihya Sutras. And other sacrifices which had to be done. Somayajna, Rajasuya, Vajapeya, Upasana and so on. So these were different sacrifices which we had discussed last time. Then there are certain conditions that also we saw. Then different yajnas. The basic is Sandhya Vandana, you have Upasana and so on. Then you have monthly rites, yearly rites, and few people who have cattle or agriculture, they also have to perform certain rites. Like this, all this we had seen. Now we continue with Sarga 9. Story of Rishyashranga. Very, very important character of the Ramayana. Story of Rishyashranga. Now, Rishyashranga is actually the son-in-law of Dasharatha. Dasharatha earlier had a daughter. Her name was Shanta. But of course, she did not live with Dasharatha much. She was given to Romapada, a friend of Dasharatha, King Romapada. She was given. So she was adopted by Romapada. So literally speaking, Rishyashranga was the son-in-law of Romapada. So, but Shanta, we must know that she is the daughter of Dasharatha. She was born through Kaushalya. She was a bit handicapped. She was a bit crippled. So now a question comes that when Dasharatha himself did not have children, why did he have to give his own daughter? One daughter was born to him. Why did he give his own daughter to someone else? Right? So Dasharatha at that time felt that Romapada, he was quite an old king. Now these are all folklores that are told. He was quite an old king and he was not blessed with children. So Dashratha in those times he was quite young and he had 3 queens. So he felt that one child is born to me, I will give it to this king Romapada because more children will be born to me. So one child, one daughter, if I give it to Romapada, that will be fine. But Dashratha at that time did not know that he also will not be blessed with children quite easily, and later he had to do the Putra Kameshti Yajna and so on. Okay, continue. So now if you see, starting from Sarga 9 onwards, about Rishyashringa, there was a person called Rishyashringa. Then in the kingdom of Romapada there was a lot of, you can say, everything was being very disturbed. And at that time Romapada says that, so the daughter Shanta, she was already given to Romapada in the young days. So in the kingdom of Romapada there was no rains at all. So everything was like a famine, drought condition. And at that time this king Romapada thinks that what should be done. He asks learned priests and everyone, and at that time they say that we must bring the sage Romapada, we must bring the sage Rishyashringa to our kingdom. The once he comes in, he is a very learned sage. So once we bring him, then it will start raining and our kingdom will be blessed, everything will become prosperous and so on. Does anyone know the father of Rishyashringa? Rishyashringa's father? Vibhandaka. Vibhandaka was a great sage. His son was Rishyashringa. Now Rishyashringa was actually, he had a Shringa. Rishya is a sage, Shringa is a horn. He had a horn over his head. So basically now Vibhandaka, and once when Vibhandaka was living in his hermitage, there was a river nearby. So at that time in the river there was a deer which was going about, and deer, it was heavily pregnant and it wanted to cross over the river. It was raining heavily, like a storm like situation, and it wanted to cross over the river and go about in order to save itself and its unborn child. So while it was jumping, it was in its, you can say, the last days, almost labor. So at that time it could not bear, while the deer was jumping over the river, it seems that the child was suddenly born. It could not bear the weight of the fetus and it could not take so much of exertion. So the fetus was being born, and the baby deer, it was born, it was put inside the river. It fell into the river, and the deer also, though it crossed over the ocean, it also did not live long because it was a very storm-like situation. So it lost its child also, as well as his own life also. So now but it is said that this deer baby that was there, it survived, and it was just a deer, but a very unique deer. It was not only like the animal deer, it had maybe the horn and so, but then rest everything, it was like it had a human body. So it was a very blessed deer. It was of course Rishyashringa, so that's why such unique births take place. And Vibhandaka, this sage hermitage was nearby. He goes and he brings this child, and that's how Rishyashringa, this name came. So Vibhandaka was not married, and the child, Rishyashringa's own mother also. Nalini ji, tell.
Ma'am, you continue, then I'll tell you.
So Rishyashringa also was born through this deer this way. So now Rishyashringa had never seen a woman. He did not know what is a woman and so on. He had seen only his father. He was living within the hermitage inside the forest and so on. So he was like, you can say, a very simple man, or he did not know what is life all around. So Vibhandaka at times, now these are all stories within stories that are there. So he used to always feel very bad. Vibhandaka used to feel very bad that my son does not know anything. He just lives in the hermitage all around. And even the gods, everyone was saying this. They felt this Rishyashringa, he has such a unique birth. Though he was born through a deer's fetus and so on. Yes, some say Menaka was his mother. Correct. So why that is, I will tell you. So everyone used to feel that such a unique birth has been given to this boy, but then still he seems to be very, very simple. So what is the reason for this? What should we do? So at that time, now at this time, you have the gods even send a few apsaras. Here again Menaka comes in between, and all other apsaras, they come to distract Romapada a bit, but nothing affects him at all. So finally some people, they come from this Romapada's kingdom and they tell Rishyashringa that we have heard that if you come, you are such a learned man, so if you come there and if you come to our kingdom, then suddenly rain showers will start and our kingdom will become prosperous. Now with regards to Rishyasringa's birth, as Nalini ji has shared, there is another version to the story wherein Menaka, the Apsara Menaka, she came and she had a relation with Vibhandaka, and that's how the birth took place of Rishyasringa. But then still the question still comes in, like how the deer, how he had the horn of a deer. So there you have a reference that is made that the deer's fetus that fell in the, it was like Menaka and Vibhandaka, they did not biologically have any relationship. It is said that how nowadays you have those what do you call, you have things like injection and so on, right? What do you call that? Surrogacy. So it was something
Surrogacy. So sometimes you freeze the egg and
Freeze,
give blood.
yeah.
So many kinds.
Correct. So such a kind of situation happened wherein the egg's fetus, the deer's fetus or the unborn deer's child, it was Menaka, she had injected herself with that, and that's how the child was born. So like this, now why this incident has been told, the reason being is that we cannot believe easily that a deer gave birth to a child and then how it had a human body and just a deer's horn. So this is a bit, you can say, difficult to accept. So that's the reason we have the entry of Apsaras coming in, and they do this wherein if some unborn child of be an animal or a human being is born, so at that time they inject themselves through this surrogacy and like freezing of eggs and all such methods. So now there is a purpose behind all this, because here Rishyasringa's birth was very very important. He was the one who had to do the Putrakameshti Yajna later, and only through him Rama and his brothers were to be born. Therefore the birth of Rishyasringa was very very important. So it's not that things are just done without any reason. What is the reason for doing all this? Why do you have to bring a deer into the story? Why do you need Menaka? Like this is also unusual and difficult to believe. It's not like that. For some purpose, at times things are done. So this is how Rishyasringa was born. So he was a very simple boy. He just lived in his hermitage. Whatever his father taught him, he learnt everything. He became a great scholar, great sage. Beyond that, he did not know anything about normal life. So at that time, now people felt that this boy is so smart, but then he doesn't know anything. So then Apsaras were sent to maybe attract, and he'll get a bit distracted. But he had never seen the other sex. He had seen only a man, that too only his father. And in the forest and then animals and so on, he had seen. So he was very surprised looking at women. He felt that this is something very unique. But he never had this feeling of attraction or something, because until and unless we know that okay, this is a woman, this is a man, you never feel attracted or distracted, right? So he used to just watch everyone and he used to be engrossed in his own work. So this also failed. So now everyone came to know that surely this person is not a normal man. We have to put in some effort so that he can be used. Why his birth has taken place, that has to be known. So at that time, Romapada's ministers come. All the learned priests suggest that you have to go and meet this Rishyasringa. After Rishyasringa, that's how you have the place of Sringeri that we have in today's Karnataka. Earlier it was Shringaverapura. So Rishyasringa, even today if you go to Sringeri, you have a Rishyasringa temple that is there. I think within the Sharada Peetham also you have the Sannidhi for Rishyasringa. I'm not very sure. Has anyone seen that in Sringeri? Anyone, you've gone to Sringeri?
Yes.
Yeah, so there
Because
you have
temple, separate temple.
there is a separate temple. I think so. It's within the Sringeri, the ashrama also you have a small sannidhi, not a dedicated temple, a small sannidhi wherein Rishyasringa is just worship. Like on the temples you have those carvings that are made, right? Maybe it is something like that. But then inside the ashrama also you have a separate temple also for Rishyasringa. And I think there are some waterfalls or something like that. It's even a tourist spot. I think what it is called, I don't know. I think Kigga, that is the name of the waterfalls. It's on the outskirts of Sringeri, and nearby you have the temple of Rishyasringa. So he was the one who had discovered this place, Sringeri, and earlier the name was Shringaverapura. That's how the name has come, Sringeri, Shringaverapura, from Rishyasringa. Even today if you go to Sringeri, in the ashrama, when the Sankalpa and mantras are being chanted, the name that is used for the acharyas, when they are telling something for the Shankaracharyas, they will always say Rishyasringapura Vasi. Next time if you can listen very carefully, they will till date they are using that. They don't even use Shringaverapura, Sringeri, nothing they use. Even till date they use this Rishyasringapura Vasi. That is the person who is living in this place, discovered by Rishyasringa. So like this, Romapada, he sends his ministers, Rishishringa is brought to his ashram, and finally once he comes, rain start coming. So once rain start, agriculture, everything becomes prosperous around, and at that time he decides that let me marry my daughter Shanta to this Romapada. Now Shanta, she was crippled. She was handicapped in one leg, and but she was a very good woman. Apart from that, she did not have any abnormalities. And Rishishringa also now in the case of Rishishringa, he did not have any problem, because usually a normal person will not marry a crippled or a handicapped woman, right? But then in his case, he did not know who was a woman and so on. So for him, Rishishringa, he was also ready to marry Shanta, and that was the first time it seems that Rishishringa knew properly what exactly is a woman, what is marriage, what is a relationship, and so on. And finally, Shanta was given in marriage to Rishishringa. Next, now after all this was done, next day, even bringing Rishishringa to Romapada's court was a celebration. You see, Angadesha, Romapada was a ruler of Angadesha. It comes in the Kosala area only, Kosala, Anga, and so on. So you can say it is in the neighboring, all neighboring kingdoms of Ayodhya. So everyone is very grateful. Sweets, musical instruments, everything is done. Now, how Rishishringa is invited? Romapada's ministers, they go to the place of Rishishringa, they offer him sweets, they bring Rishishringa to their ashrama. So a very grand welcome is given, and finally Rishishringa comes to Romapada's court and Shanta is given in marriage to Rishishringa. Now this story was told by the Sanat Kumaras, and this was known by Sumantra, the chief minister of Dasharatha. And Dasharatha then, so therefore, when all the elders in the family are told that Rishishringa is the right person to do any yaga, to do a sacrifice, at that time Sumantra tells a story about who is this Rishishringa. Nobody knew him before that. Sumantra tells the story of Rishishringa. At that time, Dasharatha, he reaches Angadesha, where Romapada was staying. He meets Romapada and he tells him, he invites him to Ayodhya. He comes Ayodhya with Shanta and Rishishringa, and both of them, they stay with Dasharatha in the palace. Now, why these sargas I have mentioned in, you can say, a gist, because there is not much. For example, now right from sarga 9 onwards to 11, if you see, it is the same thing that is repeated. Little bit background of Rishishringa, then how Romapada's ministers come and meet Rishishringa, how he is married off to Shanta, how Dasharatha comes. So there is nothing much in detail that is spoken about, so just a gist we are going to see. Next, Dasharatha tells that now he knew that a yajna had to be performed, so therefore he requests Rishishringa that he must perform the yajna, and all the elder sages, Vasishtha, Vamadeva, Kashyapa, Ajabali, all the learned sages are assembled. He seeks the advice of everyone, and Dasharatha says that I want to perform a yajna, what you all say. And everyone, he invites everyone, he starts the invitation program, everything, and there are many rules that are to be performed, which you have already seen while performing yajnas. And after consulting everyone, the sages, they all return back to their own ashramas. Now, a few rules and regulations which were told in Sarga 12 of the Ramayana. So if you want, the verses are also mentioned, verses 15 to 18. So for verses 15 to 18, in Sarga 12 of Balakandam shows about the importance of sacrifices. What are the rules? The verse number is also mentioned. सर्व्याश्चोत्तरे तीरे यज्ञभूमिर्विधीयतां शान्तयश्च विवर्धन्तां यथा कल्पं यथा विधि. We already saw what is the Kalpa Sutra in the last session. So as per the Kalpa Sutra and other Shastram, other rules that are being mentioned, on the northern bank of the Sarayu, a sacrificial pit should be constructed, and different mantras like Shanti mantras. Now, peace invocations, when we say Shantayishchavi, that is, now whenever we do even a small puja at our houses, let it be a Griha Pravesha puja or whatever, we do a Vastu Shanti, right? Or when we go to a new house, or sometimes when there are a lot of disturbances, maybe there are a few problems continuously in the house. So at that time we do some Vastu Shanti, or like a Satyanarayana puja or some Ganesha puja, something we do, right? So that is mainly for peace. But even while doing a major puja, for example now a major event like a wedding or so, still Ganesha puja is done. So small pujas are done. That is mainly for Shanti. Shanti is like Shanti Homa, peace. So similarly on the northern bank of the Sarayu also, this homa was done, like a peace homa, different mantras were chanted, and this sacrificial pit, that is the yajna kunda, was constructed there. It is usually constructed of mud, mud, mud. Like शक्यः प्राप्तुमयं यज्ञः सर्वेणापि महीक्षिता नापराधो भवेत् कष्टः यद्यस्मिन् क्रतुसत्तमे. Now there should be no kind of obstacles that come in between. Like it can, now all this is done in an open ground. So rain or any natural calamities or some other kingdom, enemy king coming and attacking, there can be any kind of obstacles. So nothing should happen. Best of sacrifices, Ashwamedaha. So to ensure that all the sacrifices take place nicely at that time, for that this homa, the shanti mantra, everything has to be chanted, and if no obstacles taken, then the results of the sacrifice also will be experienced by the king. छिद्रं हि मृगयन्त्रेऽत्र विद्वांसो ब्रह्मराक्षसाः निहतस्य च यज्ञस्य सद्यः कर्ता विनश्यति. Brahmarakshasas. Now Brahmarakshasas are, you can say, these are deities which are like protectors or which are like guardians. I don't know if anyone has come across this. Mostly in village temples and everything, you have a separate sannidhi, a separate shrine for these Brahma Rakshasas. That means they are also gods only, but they are like, you can say, guardians, or they are watchkeepers who ensure that everything is happening in a right way. If there is any wrong happening, maybe in the temple or in the puja or so on, it is said that Chidram hi mragayantre. You want nihatasya cha? Which verse? You're asking?
First verse. Sure.
15. What I'm showing that only, right?
No, the before verse.
Before.
I was writing that.
सरैवाश्चोत्तरे तीरे यज्ञभूमिर्विधीयतां शान्तयश्चाभिवर्धन्तां यथा कल्पं यथा विधि.
Ma'am, that is Shantaya, that word, ma'am.
शान्तयश्च.
Yashcha.
Yes.
Acha,
शान्तयः च अभिवर्धन्ताम्.
Acha.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next. So this Brahma Rakshasas, usually they are like guardians. I don't know if anyone has seen. Has anyone seen these? Like if you have gone to any temple, on the back side of the temple you will have such sannidhis. Has anyone seen such a temple?
Ma'am, is it something like Kartavaraya iron and all that?
Yes, somewhat, to some extent you can consider. Especially if you go to, I think in the Kerala side temples, you notice such these
we
Brahma
had many temples, Brahma
Rakshas. Especially I think
all temples.
almost in all temples it is there. And I don't know about other places, but at least in
Manapulika it is there in
Manapulika is there, correct. So on the back side if you go, you can see that. So at least like he said in Manapulika Palakkad, even I have seen that. In other temples also it will be there. So I don't know about other places in other regions how it is. Sanjeev ji, any idea? Lakshman ji, any idea?
But Koil village full Ayyanar Swami who protects the village.
Correct. That is it can have any name. It can Brahma Rakshas or any, like a protector.
Okay.
I used to see, but I'm not even now I'm correlating. Rakshasa, why they are there? I didn't understand.
Okay. So yeah. So usually, if you see, maybe though we have seen it in a few temples, it will be still there. Like in fact, I have seen like in the central part of India, you have, I think, I'm not sure whether in Maharashtra it takes place, but in Madhya Pradesh and all such places also, you have those village deities who are worshipped quite frequently. So whenever, like now in all our temples, if you see, though we have a Brahma Rakshas and like a guardian deity, we do the everyday worship, I don't suppose there is a separate maybe like a festival or function when we celebrate the Brahma Rakshas. If you go to north side, especially in the central part like Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh and so on, there they have a particular day or so, like we worship all other gods, similarly a particular day and everything wherein only the Brahma Rakshas, that is the guardian, the watchkeeper, for that they have different worship that is done, and they'll call the entire place, offer food and all that. So such things are done. So this is mainly popular in Madhya Pradesh, such places.
Okay. Let me just tell you, in my village we have a village goddess and there is a village keeper. That's what you call the
yes, village keeper. Correct.
But
Kotwal.
not within the temple. It is just in the same way opposite to temple, maybe a furlong or something, maybe 500 meters away.
So that
But
is
they say he is the ruling. I mean, he is the keeper. I mean,
Keeper.
he takes care of the
Entire village.
Nothing should happen to the goddess.
Gods, correct, that way also. So like this, they were all, even Brahma Rakshas was there. So it is said that the Brahma Rakshas, now even in Ayodhya also it was the same thing. So if anything like this happens, the Brahma Rakshas should take care, and so they will look out for any flaws, it seems, if anything wrong is happening and so on. And if something is wrong, now for doing a sacrifice, or it can be even a small puja that we do at our houses, if there are a few flaws here and there, now we do something unknowingly, that's fine, but even knowingly, sometimes people, they say, right, like for example, you do a small, say, Rudrabhisheka, for that different dravyas are kept, milk, curd and so on. You say, some people will say, no, you do only with milk, that's enough. So all this is like, even it's not that you cannot afford something, or it's not that we cannot do something. Now offering, I have seen so many people, they say, no, with milk and water we'll just do and finish off. It's not like that, right? If you're doing a proper Rudrabhisheka, you have to do all the dravyas. So this is where little flaws come in. That is, either you do or you don't do at all. But doing something halfway just for the sake of doing things, that is very, very wrong. So these are where flaws come in, and then there is no purpose of doing the sacrifice. It will not be done properly. Next, tadyata vidipurvam me kraturesha samapyate tatha vidhanam kriyatam samarthav karaneshviha. So therefore, Dasharatha, he tells everyone that let all the arrangements, everything be made in a very nice way. Whatever is needed, please tell. He tells all the learned people, sages, let everything be done right way, because I don't want to be affected by Brahma Rakshas. I don't want any flaws in my sacrifice. So let, as per the prescriptions told in the scriptures, as per the Kalpa Sutras, you are all experts in that. So you please advise and do everything accordingly. Next, the Ashwamedha begins. So this is an Ashwamedha sacrifice. Vasishtha as the chief priest or the family priest, Dasharatha tells that you have to only guide and do all the sacrifice, whatever has to be started, you take all the responsibility. Then different instructions are given, everything is managed properly, other kings are invited. Then Vasishtha commands, after doing everything, Vasishtha finally calls upon Dasharatha, the Grihastha, that you please come and sit in the sacrificial pit along with your wife, so that we can start with the sacrifice. Now, who all were called? Tato bravidvijan vriddhan yajna karma sunishtitan stapatye nishtitan shaiva vriddhan paramadharmikan karmantikan shilpakaran vardakin khanakan api kanakan shilpanaschaiva tathaiva natanartakan tata shuchin shastravidaha purushan subahushrutan. So different people were needed. Vasishtha called architects, brick makers who were needed to make the Yajna Kunda, carpenters, artisans. Then for whatever expenses were to happen to maintain all the accounts, dancers, actors, and many scholars, and also the general public who are all honest people or the right subjects of Ayodhya, all of them were invited for the sacrifice. यज्ञकर्म समीहन्तां भवन्तो राजशासनात् इष्टका बहुसाहस्री शीघ्रमानीयतामिति उपकार्याः क्रियन्तां च राज्ञो बहुगुणान्विताः. So finally they say that let us, Vasishtha tells everyone that let us start with this ceremony, let many bricks be bought in, and small buildings or temporary structures should be made, so that all the guests, all the other kings who have been invited from the nearby places, all of them can stay here nicely and comfortably. So these are all different pictures. You can see how the Yajna Kunda is performed, like a bird shape. Shena or Suparna, meaning a bird shape Yajna Kunda is performed. Brahmana vasataश्चैव कर्तव्या शतशुभाः भक्ष्यान्नपानैर्बहुभिः समुपेता सुनिष्ठिताः तथा पौरजनस्यापि कर्तव्या बहुविस्तराः आवासा बहुभक्ष्या वै सर्वकामैरुपस्थिताः. For all the priests who had come in to perform the sacrifice, the basic commodities like a place to live, excellent food, then places to keep their things, daily essentials, everything was given to them. They all had a very comfortable stay. Nextly, accommodation for people who have come from other places, and also for general citizens, even entertainment. So that's why you had dancers, actors and so on. This is the reason why even today, whenever we have something in the village, in our own village, or maybe you have some function, be it a marriage or in the village there is some function, or even for festivals like say Ram Navami or something like that, we have some cultural programs, right? So apart from the main function, apart from the main puja, all of us, we have come across this cultural function. So what is the purpose of that? It will be somewhat related. Now for example, if it's a Ram Navami festival, you will have maybe songs, so you have some dance performance, or maybe you have the enaction of the Ramayana. So such cultural performances are done so that it's not only the religious part and puja that is being done, people are also entertained, people everyone has different interests, right? So all the people from everywhere can come and enjoy. So therefore, even today if you see, we have so many samajams, you can say associations that have this Ram Navami, other festivals being celebrated, but they have different cultural programs. So what is the reason for that? This is the reason even in those times also, whenever the Ashwamedha sacrifice was being done, even at that time also, lot of cultural programs were being organized. Next. तथा जानपदस्यापि जनस्य बहुशोभनं दातव्यमन्नं विधिवत् सत्कृत्य तनुलीलया. Here again, Vasishtha tells everyone that even poor people who are coming from outside. Now usually what happens is, sometimes when poor people, or you see whenever a puja kind of a thing takes place, sometimes people like what you can say, these roadside beggars or those people will also come, right? And mostly we try to shun them away. They are of course a bit sometimes they trouble and all that, but still they should never be done that. It seems even the Vasishtha tells all the people that they should also be never sent away, they should also be given whatever they like. So even be it a person who is poor or rich, whatever it is, everyone should be treated equally, and it is your responsibility. He says that all the people should be treated very equally, very much all the facilities should be given even to rural people. It's not only for kings who are coming, we show a lot of respect. For everyone who comes and assembles, we have to show them the right path. Okay. Next. सर्वे वर्णा यदा पूजां प्राप्नुवन्ति सुसत्कृताः न चावज्ञा प्रयोक्तव्या कामक्रोधवशादपि. Again, removing all kind of caste discrimination. People from all the castes should be treated equally, and nobody kamakrodha vashadapi. There should be no greed, there should be no anger, nothing. Everyone should be treated equally. Whatever we have, we will distribute it amongst everyone. यज्ञकर्मसु ये व्यग्राः पुरुषा शिल्पिनस्ततः तेषामपि विशेषेण पूजाकार्यायताक्रमं तेजस्युस्, note this word, तेजस्युस् संवृताः सर्वे वसुभिर्भोजनेन च. Now especially people, that is now why this verse has been specially mentioned here is, reason being, it's not only the people who we can see from the front line, like for example Vasishtha or Vamadeva will be given a lot of respect, or Dasharatha will be given a lot of respect. Oh, he has performed the sacrifice, or Vasishtha was a religious priest who took over the sacrifice. But whatever the people who are working in the backstage, like sculptors and so on, they should also be honored properly. All their needs should be fulfilled. They should be provided with proper money, food and everything, because they are the ones who are actually the performers of the sacrifice. We are just sitting on the front stage and we'll just do whatever the priest tells, but then the people who are working on the back end, they should also be respected properly. यदा सर्वं सुविहितं न किञ्चित् परिहीयते तथा भवन्तः कुर्वन्तु प्रीतिस्निग्धेन चेतसा. So he says, किञ्चित् न परिहते, parihiyate. Even the smallest of things, smallest of the arrangements, nothing should be left out. Everything should be done in the right way. And priti snigdhena chetasa. Preeti and snigdha, meaning whatever you do it with lovingly, affectionately, not just for the sake of doing things. You should do it from your heart. So with this, Dasharatha advises all the people who have assembled. Further, finally, Dasharatha starts with his sacrifice. Ashwamedha Yajna he starts doing, he feeds the Brahmins. Then, what are the different offerings that are done? Prachim hotre dadau raja disham swakulavardhanaha अध्वर्यवे प्रतीचिं तु ब्रह्मणे दक्षिणां दिशम् उद्गात्रे च तथोदीचिं दक्षिणैषा विनिर्मिता अश्वमेधे महायज्ञे स्वयंभूविहिते पुरा. Now who's Hotra, Advaryu, Udgata and Brahmana? Does anyone know who is this? And Brahma, sorry. What is all this? Hota, Advaryu, Udgata, Brahma. No one? You must know all this.
Yes, no ma'am. Is it, if I'm not mistaken, you'll come to know the lineage, which Gotra, what, who is your Rishi, who is your forefather,
No.
which clan you belong.
No. What
the
is this?
priests who preside over the different directions.
Different directions. No, not directions. You're some extent correct, but it's not directions.
The kingdoms.
No. Okay, I'll tell you. It is over each of the Vedas. Hota is for Rig Veda, Advaryu, Yajurveda, Udgata, Samaveda, Brahma, Atharva Veda. For each of the Vedas, we have priests. So this means chief priests of each of the Vedas, they are called. And now this is not a proper noun, they are common nouns. So priest of the Rig Veda is called Hota, and so on. So priests who are well versed in all the four Vedas, they were invited to do the yagas, and each of the directions Dasharatha had allotted for the chanting of all the four Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda and Atharva Veda. Now here if you see, Brahma here is referred to Lord Brahma. Swayambhu Vihite Pura. Swayambhu is another name for Brahma. Now here Atharva Veda Parayanam has not been mentioned here. Okay, so it is not the four Vedas. You can consider Trayaha Vedaha. The reason being, in those times, in the Ramayana times, the concept of the fourth Veda, Atharva Veda, had not yet come. It is considered to be quite a modern Veda because it has got a few topics like, which is quite different from the first three Vedas. So that's why in the Gita, Bhagavatam, even in the Ramayana also, we consider only three Vedas. So Hota, Rig Veda, Advaryu, Yajurveda, Udgata, Samaveda. But for your knowledge, note down that the priest of the Atharva Veda is Brahma, different from Lord Brahma. This is different. The priest is called Brahma. So worship to all the three Vedas is done by the chief priests of all the respective Vedas. And Atharva Veda subject matter was a bit of black magic, medical science and so on. So it was a bit different from the topics that were covered in the first three Vedas. So it's quite a modern Veda, therefore it was not yet accepted in the Vedas. That's why in the list of Vedas, so that's why Atharva Veda is not considered. Later it was made a part. Today of course we say four Vedas. Atharva Veda is also part of the three Vedas. Okay, next. Now all the Brahmins who had come, they had to be given something. Evamukto narapatihi brahmanairveda paragaihi gavam shatasahasrani dashatebhyo dadau nripaha shatakotis suvarnasya rajatasya chaturgunam. Then what did the king give? What did Dasharatha give all of them? 100,000 cows. That means almost 10 lakh cows. 100 crore gold coins and 4 times this silver coin. So this itself shows the prosperity of Dasharatha. More than the prosperity of Dasharatha, it shows the giving, or the, you can say, everyone will have, though we have money, I have this, I have that, still we don't feel like giving, right? Even though I have crores of rupees, still we think so many times even before giving 1,000 rupees or even before giving 100 rupees. So this was not at all there with Dasharatha. Even though his kingdom was very prosperous, he gave everything to the Brahmins who were there. He paid them very nicely and they were all very, very happy. Rishyashringa and Vasishta. So all the sages who were present there, they were also so humble that whatever they got, they gave all that to Rishyashringa and Vasishta, the chief priests. Ritvijashchadatas sarve pradadu sahita vasu Rishyashringa yamunaye vasishtaya chadimate. They felt that whatever we have got this opportunity because of Rishyashringa and Vasishta, so therefore we must offer everything to both of them alone. So even the sages also, if you see, there was no greed at all to all the priests. Whatever they got, they did it. They did the sacrifice from the bottom of their heart. At the same time, but whatever they had, they were generous enough to give it back to Rishishringa and Vasishta. So this was the respect that they had. ततो ब्रवीदृश्य शृङ्गं राजा दशरथस्तदा कुलस्य वर्धनं त्वं तु कर्तुमर्हसि सुव्रत. Rishishringa blessed Dasharatha that firstly Dasharatha makes a request. He says that please sons have to be born to me. I am fighting for that. I am waiting for that. And at that time Rishishringa says Tatheti Chasarajanam Uvacha Dvijasattamah Bhavishyanti Suta Rajan Chatvaraste Kulodvaha. So Rishishringa blesses Dasharatha. He says that 4 sons will be born to you. And after blessing this, now this incident that is there, most of us we don't know in the Ramayana story. We feel that directly Rishishringa was called to perform the Putrakameshti Yajna. Is not at all so. The greatest of sacrifice. Firstly, Dasharatha had this thought in mind that I'll do the greatest of sacrifices, that is Ashwamedha. Maybe by doing that, I will have my wish fulfilled of bearing sons. And then towards the end of the Ashwamedha sacrifice, he asks Rishishringa that you please bless me with sons, and at that time he says that 4 children will be born to you, and then he does the Putrakameshti Yajna. So don't forget this. First is the Ashwamedha sacrifice, and then you have the Putrakameshti sacrifice. So Sarga 15, wherein Rishishringa is ready to perform the Putrakameshti sacrifice, and on the other side all the gods, they rush to Brahma and they pray to Brahma saying that please, this Ravana, the evil demon, is there, you have to only do something. So they all pray to Vishnu. So Brahma says you have to go to Vishnu. They pray to Vishnu saying that you have to incarnate. Anyways, Dasharatha is doing this Putrakameshti Yajna. He is a great king. Please incarnate as his son and please kill Ravana, because as per the boon that has been given, Ravana can be killed only by a man. नैनं सूर्यः प्रतपति पार्श्वे वातिनमारुतः चलोर्मिमानीतं दृष्ट्वा समुद्रोऽपि न कम्पते. So all the devas, they tell about Ravana. They say that the sun does not affect him, wind does not blow him, even the ocean also is so frightened just by looking at him, it also becomes still. So please, now you only have to help. ना कीर्तयद्दवज्ञानात् अद्रक्ष्यो मानुषान् प्रति तस्मात् स मानुषद्वादो मृत्युर्नान्योऽस्य विद्यते. So they further said that this Ravana, he felt that he cannot be killed by a man, plus at the same time he did not say a monkey. So therefore only these 2 people. Now it is as per the boon, not the curse. I think in the first slide it is by mistake, it's become an error. It's mentioned as curse here, right? Brahma's curse. It's not curse. You see verse 4 to 15, it's not Brahma's curse, it's actually Brahma's boon. So when Brahma was ready, he did a lot of tapasya, and at that time the boon that he asked Brahma was, nobody should kill me. No god, Rakshasa, Kinnara, this, that, everything he tells. And at that time he forgets about the man. So Brahma also, he was surprised and he tells, you didn't include a man? He said, what will a man do? And even at that time also he did not know that a man will be responsible for his death. He says, no, what, a man cannot do anything. And man and monkey, these are the 2 categories that he never included. And that's how men and monkeys were only man, Rama in the form of Naravatara, he had to take this Naravatara, and monkeys were a part, including Sugriva, Vali, Hanuman and so on. They were the ones who were responsible for killing Ravana. Further, finally, Lord Vishnu decides to take an avatar as Rama. Bhayam tyajata badram vo hitartham yudiravanam suputra pautram samatyam samitrajñāti bandhavam hatva kruram duratmanam te varshīṇām bhayāvaham दशवर्ष सहस्राणि दशवर्ष शतानि च वत्स्यामि मानुषे लोके पालयन् पृथिवीमिमाम्. Vishnu consoles all the gods. He says that be safe, don't be afraid. I am going to eliminate that. So I am going to kill Ravana along with his entire family. I will reside in the human world for about 11,000 years and thus establish a very good kingdom, Ramarajyam, as well as kill all the negative elements like Ravana. Thus Vishnu, he assured the gods. ततः पद्मपलाशाक्षः कृत्वात्मानं चतुर्विधं पितरं रोचयामास तथा दशरथं नृपम्. 4 forms. Rama as Lord Vishnu himself, Sheshanaga as Lakshmana, Shankha Chakra, Bharata and Shatrughna. Like these 4 forms were to be incarnated as the 4 sons of Dasharatha. Finally, Sarga 16, Dasharatha does the Putrakameshti Yajna. After doing the yajna, a divine being comes from the sacrificial pit. He gives a payasa to Dasharatha, tells that you please consume this payasa, give it to your wives, and once they consume that, they will be able to conceive. दिवाकर समाकारं दीप्तानलशिखोपमं तप्तजाम्बूनदमयीं राजतान्तपरिच्छदं दिव्यपायससम्पूर्णां पात्रीं पत्नीमिव प्रियां प्रगृह्य विपुलां दोर्भ्यां स्वयं मायामयीमिव. Here the explanation has been given. If you see that this payasa was being bought in a vessel that was made of gold and it was covered with a silver lid. Now, why this has been mentioned? I think I have told this even in a few classes. Does anyone remember why so?
Yes, Sister. Already you told that to maintain the temperature of that
Correct.
rice.
Correct. Now, this was so thoughtful of Valmiki in those times, and again, it was because he thought that he doesn't mention, not Valmiki, maybe Valmiki has mentioned this in the Valmiki Ramayana, but the person who bought, the divine being who bought the payasa, golden pot. Now, gold is a good conductor of heat. Those who remember science. Silver is good for consuming food, right? That is, it is free from impurities. That is the reason small children, we offer them food in silver plates, spoons and everything. Even some people till date, they eat food only in silver vessels. And in fact, it is said that we must always consume food in silver. It is very, very auspicious. Auspicious, more than auspicious, it is quite safe, you can see. Because silver is a metal which is free from all kinds of impurities. There will be no impurities at all. Whereas in steel and everything, you have some bacteria growth. Silver usually does not have so much. So, that is the reason you see it gets very much affected. You keep a silver lamp or something outside, immediately it turns out to be black, right? And you have to wash the silver continuously. So that is because immediately silver gets attracted, or you can say it turns out to be black and so on by the impurities that come in. So therefore it cannot bear a lot of impurities, but it is at the same time it removes all the bacteria and everything that is there. So it's a very good metal that can be used for consuming food. Nalini ji?
Yes, silver is a very good conductor of heat, ma'am. That is why we have food in silver so that the heat retains. Whereas gold tries to expel the heat. That is why we wear gold ornaments so that the extra heat from your body is expelled.
Correct.
So that is why in the payasam kuda paathena, it will come in a silver vessel with a golden lid, so that the extra heat is sent away.
You are telling the other way around, Nalini ji. Gold
Or
is
ulta. I messed it up, right?
Correct. Ulta, you are saying same thing, but you told other way around. So
Reverse
gold
man,
maintains
reverse
heat
man.
and silver reduces. That's how. So that is the reason to maintain. So maintain a good temperature. Now the payasa that had to be given, it should not be very hot. At the same time, it should not be cold, right? So gold vessel that is there, it maintains heat. It retains the heat. And silver, it ensures that the food cools down a bit. So therefore, to maintain the right temperature of the food, this was given. So that is the reason this payasa was given to the queens, and thus they were responsible for giving birth to the children, and they could conceive easily. Now everyone note one thing, this is not magic now. Okay, payasa someone eats and then the child was immediately born to Kaushalya, or it was immediately born to Sumitra, Kaikai. It is not at all so. It is not magic. It just became an easy means to conceive. That is the only thing. Next 12 months it took for Kaushalya to conceive Rama. After consuming this payasam, it became easy for all the 3 queens to conceive. That is the only reason. So here, why I am saying this is, many people, we don't look into whether they conceive and all that. We are just interested, she consumes the payasam and she became pregnant, immediately Rama was born. It's not a one day story or so, nothing is magic. No child, be it even godly person or human incarnation. That too, in the case of Rama, it is human incarnation, so he has to stay within the roots of humans only. So there it is not magic that in one day she eats the paisam and then the child is born. It is not like that. It just became an easy means of conceive. That's it. So therefore, please get this very much clear in your minds. People will say, oh, you consume a paisa and then the child was born. See, look at this magic that is there in the Ramayana, and we also will keep our mouths wide open and keep wondering at this. Wow, this is so amazing. If this was to happen, everyone will consume some or the other paisa and everyone can give birth to children every day then. It is not at all so. So be very, very careful when you speak about such things and when you understand things. So after consuming the paisa, it became easy for the queens to conceive. Sanjeev ji.
Madam, can you throw some light on Karna's birth?
Sorry?
Throw some light on Karna's birth by Sumit.
Sanjeev ji, I'm not able to hear you clearly. What you're saying?
Throw some light on Karna's birth.
Karna's birth. Acha. That you are asking. Okay. Now in the case of Karna also, how Karna was born. She prayed to the sun god and he was born, right? Now even for that also, though it was not a magic thing or so, like now he asked in the case of Paisa, Durvasa had given the boon to Kunti. That is because Pandu had a curse that he cannot get physical with any woman. The minute he got physical, he will die. So therefore Kunti and Madri, they could not have a biological relationship with Pandu, the father of the Pandavas. But then children had to be born. So therefore Durvasa saw that Kunti was a very pious woman, so somehow she needed that power. So therefore Durvasa blessed her by saying that you pray to any deity, you will be blessed with that child. So she was a young woman in the sense she was newly married. So therefore, not married in fact, she was at the age of marriage. So she wanted to test, because all the marriage preparations, everything was going on. She was to be, in future it was to happen, because this series was to happen, that Pandu will not be eligible to give a child to Kunti and Madri. Therefore Durvasa, keeping that in mind, he had told this. But now Kunti was not in that, she was like, she could not accept this. She could not accept, but she just took it as a very lightly. Now someone comes and tells us, no, your future husband cannot do this, so therefore I'm blessing you with so and so. We'll not believe, right? And immediately the thought comes in that, no, I want to test. So at that time she prays to the sun god. At that time the sun god comes, and having a proper relationship, only Karna is born. But now Kunti was even not aware of all this. For her it was just like, it was just a normal thing that happened. So properly a son was born, and later she realized. So it's not that Surya just brings about a child from somewhere and gives it to her. It is not like that. It was properly born through Kunti and Surya only. And like this, later she realizes that, oh, what Durvasa said is true, but now what to do of this child? So properly it is said that she conceived. It is mentioned in the Mahabharata also, and that's how the son is born. That is, Karna is born. But later she realizes that no, now this sun god comes, he blesses her with the child and he goes away. He gives the child to her, the child is born properly and he goes away. But then now she is sitting and wondering what should be done. Now here, when we talk about such births, it can either be a birth that takes place in a normal way, or like we saw in the case of Risha Shringa, it can also be just the injection that takes place. So it can be anything, but then the conceiving that takes place, that is done as normal human beings do. So there is nothing magical in that. And later, of course, now because she was not married and all, she could not keep the child with her. So Karna, she just left him in the water, as we saw in that the cradle, she puts him and it goes away, the charioteer picks it up. Later, when after her marriage and so on, then each of the gods she prays. To Dharma she prays, and to all the gods she prays, and that's how each of the gods come, and thus the children were born. So like this, though it would not be that those gods come and maybe have a biological relationship with them, but then just as we have these injection from outside, you have the surrogacy and all things that happen, such things would have happened. So the birth that takes place surely takes 9 months. So that's what I'm saying, be it in the Ramayana or be it in the Mahabharata, when we say that some child is born, just because it is not mentioned, now all the 9 months period is not mentioned in detail, 9 months, 12 months, whatever it is, though it is not mentioned in detail, doesn't mean that it comes out in one day. It is not magic at all. We have to understand it properly. So even today, when someone says that no, today all of us, there are so many people we come across, right? They have some fertility issues and so on. So the child is not being born to me. And then we go and went and consulted some Ayurvedic doctor or some homeopathic, some treatment we took, and that's how it happened. So just the methods of conceiving are easy. Or maybe some people have some religious beliefs also. You go to some temple, you do some puja, and then the child was born. So that doesn't mean that you had the prasadam and one day the child comes. These are all just beliefs that take place. Especially now in the case of giving birth, you have the famous, I don't know how many of you are aware, Garbharakshambika Stotra. Anyone knows this? Garbharakshambika.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Even for my children, I did it.
Yes.
The moment anybody gets pregnant, first that is that is taught.
Correct.
Throughout
So
your
Garbharakshambika
9 months,
Stotra, just to ensure that the child in the womb stays safe. Some people even do this before conceiving also. So like this, there are different things that are told. So yeah. Sorry. Correct. So like this, there are different beliefs that take place. So the point that I'm trying to say is, just because something has not been mentioned in detail, that okay, after consuming Kaikeyi, Sumitra and Kaushalya, they, just because it is directly mentioned that it became easy for the mothers to give birth, it is just a process that things become easy. That's it. It's not magic that in one day the child is born. Because in the next line, when we look at the birth of Rama, we have Tato Dvadashe Mase Chaitre Valmiki. It comes there later, right? That is after 12 months. So this itself shows that Kaushalya conceived, and after 12 months only Rama was born. Okay, so now all the queens, they consume this payasa. Dasharatha, how he shares the payasa? Kausalyayai narapatihi payasardam dadau tada ardhadardam dadau chavi sumitrayai naradipaha. 50%, half is given to Kaushalya. Now out of the half that is remaining, out of the 50%, half he gives to Sumitra, that is 25%. What is remaining? 75 is done. Remaining 25, Kaikeyi cha vashishtartham dadau putrarthakaranat pradadau cha vashishtartham payasasyamritopamam anuchintya sumitrayai punareva mahipatihi evam tasam dadau raja bharyanam payasam pritak. Now 75 is done, half to Rama. Out of the half that is remaining, he made a half, so 25 is given to Sumitra. Now out of the 25 that is remaining, he still makes two parts. 12.5 is given to Kaikeyi. Now still all the three queens have been given their share. Now what is remaining? Who should he give the third part? If he gives to Kaushalya, Kaikeyi will be angry. If he gives to Kaikeyi, Kaushalya will be angry. This was one reason, because they were the first two queens, Sumitra was the third. And at the same time, Sumitra, she was very, very intelligent. And he knew that Sumitra will never use anything in the wrong way. And he knew that if two sons were born to Sumitra, they will always serve, they will always be under the control. Or rather, they will be good Bhagavatas. Bhagavatas are good devotees of their brothers, and they will show to the world how a true brother should be. That's how Lakshmana and Shatrughna were born. So first 50% Rama, next 25% Lakshmana, and 12.5 Bharata and Shatrughna. So this was how the births of the children took place. This was how the distribution of payasa took place. Sumitra, she was a very intelligent lady. That is the reason why even when Lakshmana wanted to go to exile, she did not even stop and think and cry even for a minute. She said, whom are you and why are you still waiting here? You should immediately proceed to Ayodhya, because your birth itself has taken for this purpose, to serve Rama. She knew that. She kept all her motherly affection aside, she kept all her crying, cribbing, everything aside, and she advised her son. And even at that minute, she tells her son that when you serve in the forest, for you, not Dasharatha, not myself, Rama and Sita are only your parents, you must only serve them till you return back from Ayodhya. So this was how, and she was the queen of Kashi Kshetra, Kashi Raja. She was a princess of Kashi. Next, now Rama, Vishnu was incarnated as Rama. Now next, all the monkeys also, they have to be born so that they can serve Rama. So they are born as monkeys and bears. So different devas incarnated as monkeys. And what all, let us see. Maya vidascha shuramsha vayu vega samanjave nayanyana Nyayajnan buddhi sampannaan vishnutulya parakraman asamharyanupayajnan divya samhanananvitan sarvastra guna sampannaan amritan. sorry, namritaprashananiva apasarassu cha mukhyasu gandharvanam tanushu cha srijadvam harirupena putram stulya parakraman. So through the wombs of apsaras and gandharvas the birth takes place, and everyone should have the knowledge of tricks like Hanuman, then one who is brave, one who is like the wind, then he was very very smart. That's why Hanuman is also born through an apsara. What is Hanuman's mother's name? Anjana. She was which apsara?
Yeah.
Punjikastala. So Hanuman's wife, Hanuman's mother, sorry, she was Punjikastala. She was also an apsara, Anjana Devi, and that's how Hanuman was born. Each of the monkeys, Sugriva was a son of Surya, Vali was a son of Indra, and so on like this. All the monkeys were born Nala, Nila, they were of Vishwakarma. So everyone along with the purpose that they had, like for example Nala, Nila, they were the sons of Vishwakarma, they were great architects, because later their purpose was to build the bridge. Therefore it was needed. Just 1 second, just hold on. Yeah, okay. So next, yes.
I don't know how hard
Yes, that is said so that the payasam fell in the hands of Anjana and little she has consumed. That is also there, but at least in the Valmiki Ramayana it is not mentioned much. It is not there. Of course, it can be there in other side folklores that are told. So that is the reason, along with Rama and the 4 brothers, even Hanuman was also born. Correct. That is also a reference that is mentioned, but not in the Ramayana. Okay. Next, now you have this. Indra, Vali, Surya, Sugriva, Brihaspati, Tara, Kubera, Gandamadana, Vishwakarma, Nala, Agni, Nila, Varuna, Sushena, Parjanya, Sarabha or Sharabha, Vayu, Hanuman, Ashwini, Devadas, Mainda, Dvivida. Now a few monkeys per year from here, Gandamadana. Now Tara, when we say, that is not the wife of Vali. This is a different male monkey who is there. And like this there are Sushena, Sharaba and so on. These are monkeys where you have the reference in the Sundarakanda. Mainly it comes Dvivida, Mainda. They were all great monkeys, very strong monkeys. Though we are not much aware of them, though they are not very popular, still we must not forget that they are great monkeys. You find their reference in the Sundarakanda. Vanarendram Mahendrabham Indro Vaninamurjidam Sugrivam Janayamasa Tapanastapatambaraha Brihaspatistwajanaparam Brihaspatistwajanayattaram Nama Mahaharim. सर्ववानरमुख्यानां बुद्धिमन्तमनुत्तमं धनदस्य सुतः श्रीमान् वानरो गन्धमादनः विश्वकर्मा त्वजनयन्नलं नाम महाहरिं पावकस्य सुतः श्रीमान् नीलोऽग्निसदृशप्रभः तेजसा यशसा वीर्यादत्यरिच्यत वानरान् रूपद्रविणसम्पन्नौ अश्विनौ रूपसम्मतौ मैन्दं च द्विविधं चैव जनयामास तु स्वयं वरुणो जनयामास सुषेणं वानरर्षभं शरभं जनयामास पर्जन्यस्तु महाबलं मारुतस्यात्मज श्रीमान् हनुमान् नाम वीर्यवान् वज्रसंहननापेतो वैनतेयसमो जवः or jave. So like this, these are the birth of different monkeys that took place. So along with Rama, now the 4 brothers were about to be born, and next sarga, Rama Janana Sarga. Now the different planetary positions also we have to seek for Rama Jananam. What is that? ततो यज्ञे समाप्ते तु ऋतूनां षट्समत्यतुः ततश्च 12 मासे चैत्रे नवमिके तिथौ. Note this now. नक्षत्रेदिति दैवत्ये स्तोच्च संस्थेषु पञ्चसु ग्रहेषु कर्कटे लग्ने वाक्पताविन्दुना सह प्रोद्यमाने जगन्नाथं सर्वलोकनमस्कृतं कौसल्या जनयद्रामं सर्वलक्षणसंयुतं विष्णोरर्धं महाभागं पुत्रमैक्ष्वाकुवर्धनम्. In the 12th month of Chaitra, on the 9th day, Aditi was the preceding deity, Punarvasu was a nakshatra, 5 planets were there, Karkata Lagna, and at that time, now these are all planetary positions. Kaushalya gave birth to a son. Now here it has been mentioned, Dwadashe Mase. Now, did Kaushalya keep Rama in her womb for 12 months? No, 9 months only she keeps. The remaining 3 months, it is actually considered from the time when the sperm is injected in the body. So therefore, this is very, very important. So all this knowledge that is there, you can say it wins over even medical science. Today we have only 9 months that is considered. Even the contribution of the father also is very much considered. That is the reason here it is mentioned Dwadashe Mase. Some people will give a very wrong explanation saying that no, in those times women used to give birth by keeping it for 12 months. 12 months, all such things never exists. Okay, it's only for 9 months. All women who are here, whoever has given birth, all of us have kept the child inside for 12 months only. But it is known that is for the sperm to reach the egg. And now many sperms are released, right? The generative fluid of men, many are released. But in the case of women, not every sperm goes and meets the egg, right? So that is the reason why, though many sperms are released every time, it's not that every time a woman becomes pregnant, right? Only when the sperm goes and meets the egg, and it takes about roughly 3 months, it seems, for the child who is to be born. For once when the sperm meets the egg, for the woman to be pregnant, it is said that for about 3 months it takes for the the sperm to reach the egg, and that's how the woman becomes pregnant. That is the reason why not all sperms released meet with the egg, and that's the reason why every time a woman does not become pregnant. So sperms can be released every time. There is no you can say there's no limit for that, or there's no fixed number for that, nothing. But for the eggs to meet the sperm, it is not actually so. Therefore, in the Ramayana also, in the footnotes and everything, in the commentaries, or in many other shastras like the you can say Kama Sutra, in the Shastram also, there is a stipulated period that is said, that is after the monthly menstrual cycle that is done, after about 4-5 days or so, if you try to conceive, the chances of conceiving are quite more. You go to a doctor, you go to a gynecologist, he tells us all this, we feel wow, it's not at all so. Of course, we go and consult a doctor, that is different. I'm not saying it is wrong. Medical science is also there, but all this we have in our own books. Only thing is, we are not able to study that properly. So therefore, this is the reason why Dwadashe Mase is mentioned. Secondly, Ramayana is a text which has equality everywhere. Now, giving birth to a child, though a lot of respect is given to the mother, of course, she bears the child inside for 9 months, but if the father does not contribute, the mother is helpless, right? So therefore, the contribution of the father also is respected. That is the reason it is mentioned, Dwadashe Mase. So, after 12 months, Chaitrena Valmiki Ramayanam, on the month of Chaitra, in the Aditi deity, goddess Aditi was there, star was Punarvasu, 5 planets were there, and Karkata Lagna, Kaushalya gave birth to the sun. Now that's why if you see your own horoscope, you can see different planetary positions. And it is said that because of these 5 planets that were there, the position of these 5 planets, it is said that when Rama himself was born, the astrologer had told that you will face a lot of separation in your life. Of course, Vishnu had a curse earlier also that you will be separated from your wife. But usually when some people are born, all of us also when we are born, I don't know how much it takes place nowadays, but at least in olden times, if you go and consult the astrologer and so on, they will tell us something, right? No, this period is a bit tough for you, 2-3 years are tough for you. And then after you do this, and after 2-3 years things become easy. Or for this child he is going to face this. Such things, you go and consult. How much you believe, it depends on all of us. If you believe, otherwise you can leave it. But it is said that when Rama was born, it seems that when these 5 planets were positioned in such a way, looking at the position of those planets, it is said that Rama will face a lot of separation, and then that's how happened in his life also. That is, he had the Angaraka planet that is there in his position, that was being very very dominant, Angaraka, and that is the reason why Rama had to face a lot of separation from his wife. So these are all a few things that are believed. Angaraka is usually Mars planet was at its peak, it seems, and that is the reason Rama had to face a lot in life. So this was being told. Now all this, we should not just comment on this without studying anything properly. There is a very good science, Jyotisha Shastram. It is one amongst our, you can say, the topmost chief knowledge systems. So we are not aware of Jyotisha Shastram, therefore we should not comment at all. When we can believe that satellites outside the universe can affect the TV and the mobile signals that are there on Earth, then surely we must believe that the planets that are there in the sky, they can also have an impact on human beings that are there. Now I am not saying that this is somewhere related to some Mercury or Sun is moving about in the sky and that is the reason I am facing problems. It is not like that. But then there is a Jyotisha Shastram, there is a science for everything. Of course, we cannot just sit and blame. There are problems coming that like, no, my sun is not in a proper position, my Mars is not in a proper position, or the Navagrahas are troubling me. What will the Navagraha do if you are facing a problem? It is not like that. So, I am not saying that we must believe in Andhashraddha. Shraddha is fine, Andhashraddha is dangerous. So, therefore, superstitions, just blaming Mars, Jupiter, planets and all this is not like that. But of course, there are a few things that are told by Jyotisha Shastram. We must study that properly. After studying Jyotisha Shastram, you can take your call whether you wish to believe or you don't believe. But just some Navagraha Pida, Rahu Pida, Kedu Pida, this Pida, that Pida, wear a red color ring, you give red color clothes to people, or every day you wear on a Tuesday wear red color clothes. All this is just simply believing without studying Jyotisha Shastram is wrong. Study Jyotisha Shastram in detail and then you take your call whether something is right or wrong. That is fine. So finally, Vishnu was born here in the line of Ikshvaku. Nakshatra Suktam. Can anyone chant? Rajesh ji, are you aware? Punarvasu Nakshatram, you know to chant? Rajesh ji, voice is not coming. Punarno deve ditis pranoto punarvasuna punaretam yajnam. Anyone knows to chant? Men studying the Vedas? Parvati ji? Sridhar is there?
Hello.
Aloha, Rajesh ji.
Hello.
You know to chant this?
No, madam, actually, Nakshatra Suktam I have not learned.
You have not
There are
learned.
27 Nakshatras we have to do it.
Yes.
But I know Navagraha Suktam. I'm very sorry.
Navagraha, not Nakshatra.
Navagraha Suktam. Yeah.
Not Nakshatra. Okay. Anyone else?
No.
You know to chant men? No one? Okay. So for all the different nakshatras, you have mantras. I think everyone would have heard about the Anuradha nakshatra, right? Usually it is chanted during pujas. Ridyasmahavyai namatopasadya mitran devam mitradeyanno astu anuradhan. So like this is for Punarvasu nakshatra, you have the mantra, so which is chanted. Punarvasu because it is a nakshatra of Rama. Next, Rama's horoscope. Look at this. This is Rama's horoscope. All of us horoscopes also look like this only to some extent. Now, next Vishwamitra comes in. पुरे कोशे जनपदे बान्धवेषु सुहृत्सु च कुशलं कौशिको राज्ञः पर्यपृच्छत्सु धार्मिकः. Kaushikaha, another name for Vishwamitra, he comes to meet Dasharatha. He talks about the sacrifice that he done, welfare of his subjects and so on. And then he says, Apite sannata sarve samanta ripavojitaha daivam chamanusham chapi karmate sadvanushtitam. So the right questions that are to be asked to a king, he asks all that. Have you conquered your enemies? Are your kings under your control? Are you performing the right rites? And so on. Are you serving your subjects? He asks all this. And then now Sarga 19, he tells, now Rama has already grown up. Now this reference you don't have too much in the Valmiki Ramayana about the birth story of Rama or about the childhood stories of Rama. Why did Rama do this? Not much it is mentioned. Do you know any reason directly Rama goes to the Gurukula, everything is done? All this is just understood or it is mentioned in very short. And then Vishwamitra comes to take Rama and Lakshmana away. Why this is done so? Can anyone tell? Why about the childhood of Rama we don't know much stories, or rather it is not mentioned much in the Valmiki Ramayana? Is there any reason, or it is just like that? Can you think? No?
reflect
Okay. So he says that just because Rama had to be shown like a human being, that is the reason it is not. But human beings, we also have childhood stories, right? If we ask everyone to tell about your childhood story, everyone will have details. So I did this, I did that, I went here, I went there. Everything. My grandmother did this, grandfather did that. Everyone has.
important was performed at the complete age of the planet.
Correct. Okay. So now, why in the Valmiki Ramayana, or why mostly about Rama's childhood stories, why it is not mentioned is that in the next avatara, Vishnu knew that he is going to have a lot of childhood stories, Krishna avatara stories, Krishna Leela stories. Secondly, Rama, though he was born as a human being, he was a Maryada Purushottama. He was a person, he did not do anything unique at all. In his childhood also, he was a person who used to keep obeying his parents, obeying his teachers. So he did not do anything unusual also. Unlike Krishna, who was born to break rules. Right from the time he was born, he had to do many amazing things. Rama was not like that. Rama was a very normal person. So therefore, you don't have much childhood stories related to him. In fact, when Vishwamitra comes to take Rama and Lakshmana, they're just young boys, very young boys. Because he was married at the age of 12, so this has to be quite, maybe you can consider like 10 or 11, that would be his age. So this is the reason why Rama's childhood stories are not mentioned much in detail. Directly it goes to Vishwamitra coming and requesting Dasharatha that you send Rama with me for 10 days, 10 nights. And why you have to accompany, why you have to send Rama, he explains all that too. प्रते मे बहुशश्चीर्णे समाप्त्यां राक्षसा विमौ मारीचश्च सुबाहुश्च वीर्यवन्तौ सुशिक्षितौ समां सरुधिरौघेण वेदिं तामभ्यवर्षताम्. So Vishwamitra tells that I am doing a very important sacrifice, and these Rakshasas are continuously coming and messing with me. They are disturbing me. My sacrifice is about to be complete, but at that time they are raining blood and other flesh. Doing impure things are being put on my sacrifice. So शक्तो ह्येष मया गुप्तः दिव्येन स्वेन तेजसा राक्षसा ये विकर्तारः तेषामपि विनाशने. Only your the son Rama is capable of destroying the Rakshasas, therefore you please send him with me. श्रेयश्चास्मै प्रदास्यामि बहुरूपं न संशयः त्रयाणामपि लोकानां येन ख्यातिं गमिष्यति. So he says that if Rama accompanies me, he is going to be blessed by everyone all around in the world without doubt. Na samshayah, there is no doubt about it at all. Plus, he will be taken care of, don't worry at all. He will attain a very good position in life if he does this, if he is exposed to such a situation wherein he has to kill Rakshasas, because that is the main goal of Kshatriya Dharma. So, he will be known everywhere, he will attain a lot of fame. But just as Dasharatha, like a normal father, he is a bit reluctant. He says, no, I cannot send my son. Now, no father will like to send his son, right? That to such a small boy, which father will send easily? So he says, I'll only come, I'll send my entire army, everyone. But still, Vishwamitra doesn't agree to everything. षोडश वर्षो मे रामो राजीवलोचनः न युद्धयोग्यतामस्य पश्यामि सह राक्षसैः. Una is less, Shodasha. Dasharatha says that my son Rajivalochana, having lotus like eyes, he is less than 16. So less than 16, that is, he is just such a small boy. He cannot do anything. He is not fit to even fight a war, and I don't think he can kill Rakshasas, fight with Rakshasas. बालो ह्यकृतविद्यश्च न च वेद्य बलाबलं न चास्त्रबलसंयुक्तः न च युद्धविशारदः न चासौ रक्षसां योगः कूटयुद्धाहिते ध्रुवम्. So he says that Rama is still a child. He has not learnt Dhanurveda, nothing he has learnt. He does not know what is an enemy, what is Rakshasa, what is their strength, weakness. He does not know to use weapons properly. So and Vishwamitra said that these Rakshasas are very dangerous, and hence it is very dangerous to send Rama with you. षष्टिवर्षसहस्राणि जातस्य मम कौशिक दुःखेनोत्पादितश्चायं न रामं नेतुमर्हसि. Here the age of Dasharatha is mentioned. See, he says 60,000 years, Shashti Varsha Sahasrani. 60,000 years have passed after I am being born, and finally now Rama is born to me after a lot of suffering, after doing a lot of yajnas, Ashwamedha Yaga, Patrakameshti Yaga. Finally, this boy is born to me. So, therefore, I cannot part from him. I cannot give you such a small boy in a very dangerous situation. Chaturanamatmajanami Pridif Paramika Mama Jeshtam Dharma Pradhanam Cha Naramam Netumarhasi. He says that I cannot part with the eldest of my sons, Rama. He is very much dear to me, and he is very good also. He does not know any tricks. He is not into cheating, nothing. He'll be very straightforward. So therefore, if the Rakshasas come and put some plot on him also, my son will not be able to fight on that, because he doesn't know how to fight with them. So therefore, so basically Dasharatha is trying to convince Vishwamitra not to take Rama with him along. Now Vishwamitra is angry, gets very angry, and at that time Vasishtha advises Dasharatha. संश्रुत्वैवं करिष्यामीत्यकुर्वाणस्य राघव इष्टापूर्तवदो भूया तस्माद् रामं विसर्जय. Now, when Vishwamitra had firstly come to Dasharatha's kingdom, at that time Dasharatha very nicely, he said that whatever you ask I will give you, whatever you want you tell me, I am ready to serve you. So he had already made a promise. So at that time now Vasishtha tells that you have already made a promise, and not keeping to your words is going to cause you a lot of trouble. So therefore you please send Rama with him. There is no worry at all. Now this is something talking about good acts. What is this? Ishta and Purta. One is we all do sacrifices, and other is doing public welfare activities. So now all of us also, if you see, some people go to temples and worship. Some people believe that service to mankind is service to God. The same thing has been mentioned here. You do something for the welfare of people, or you do sacrifices, you do prayers, you do worship, chants. So it is up to you, but we must do both. It's not actually a choice that is there. Doing good things should include both of this. It should be also praying to God, maybe go worshipping, doing pujas, chanting mantras, going to temples. At the same time also taking up public welfare activities. That is the reason why most of us give something in charity, give in donation. Maybe there is some good thing that is happening for a social cause, we give. Right? So this is the reason why we do. Both of this will lead to punya. Traividyamam somapah puta papa yajnairishva swargatim prarthayante. It's a Vedic mantra. Then Chandogya Upanishad also stresses upon this. Now what is this? अथय इमे ग्रामे इष्टापूर्तदत्तमित्युपासते ते धूममिविसम्भवन्ति धूमाद्रात्रिरात्रैरपरपक्षमपरपक्षाद्यान् षड्दक्षिणैति मासास्ताज्ञैते संवत्सरमभिप्राप्नुवन्ति. What is this? Mainly, now we have something called in the Gita. Though we have this reference in the Chandogya Upanishad, you can take this from the Gita. In the Gita it is mentioned you have Dakshinayana and Uttarayanam. People who die in the Uttarayanam, they will surely attain the right path. Uttarayanam, that is from January till June, or you can consider July. And the next 6 months is Dakshinayana. So people who die in these 6 months, it is said that is when the sun moves to the northern hemisphere. At that time, they will directly reach heaven, it seems, or directly go to moksha. These people who died in the Dakshinayana, people who die in the Dakshinayana, for them first of all the path is very very dark. That is because from July to September, now the months maybe now from June you consider, you have the equinox coming in on June 21st. Right? So that is where you have, not the equinox, what is it? Solstice, right? The longest day and shortest night, that comes on June 21st. from June end onwards till December, dark nights come in, wherein the nights are longer and the days are shorter. So people who die at this time, now of course death is not there in our hands. We must not distinguish based on this, but still it is said so based on one's qualities that we do all through our life. If death comes in so and so period, even those who die in the Dakshinayana, they will also go to heaven. But it seems that once their good deeds are done, they have to again take a rebirth. Whereas those who are born, die in the Uttarayana, it is said that directly they attain Vaikuntha. Now here it depends on when a person dies also. So there can be different meanings for this. But usually the very simple meaning, logical meaning is in the Uttarayanam, that is when the sun is moving in the northern hemisphere. These are all light months, when you have the summer season, long days and everything. So it becomes very easy for the main is all our Pitrus to ascend to the upper regions. Whereas in the dark months it is very difficult because the surroundings and the atmosphere, everything is a bit dark. And that is the reason why Bhishmacharya, from the Mahabharata reference also, he had this boon of dying whenever he wished, right? So therefore he also waited for the Uttarayana Kala to start so that he can die at that time. So this is just the mention of that now how it is related to the Ramayana is, if you do good deeds, ultimately you will get even a good death also. Even at the time of death also, it will be very good. You will die in the Uttarayana Kala. So mainly Vasishtha is trying to convince Dasharatha that if you do good deeds, everything will happen good. Even at the time of death also, you will get a good death. So he tries to explain all this. And तानि चास्त्राणि वैत्येष यतावत् कुशिकात्मजः अपूर्वाणां च जनने शक्तो भूयस्स धर्मवित्. He says that now Rama is a young child, he has to learn new things. So now if he accompanies Vishwamitra, it is going to be very, very beneficial. He is going to learn many new things. So therefore it will be a good advantage for Rama also. तेषां निग्रहणे शक्तः स्वयं च कुशिकात्मजः तव पुत्रहितार्थाय त्वामुपेत्याभियाचते. So Vasishtha, he is still continuing, he is telling Dasharatha that for the welfare of your son, for the betterment of your son only, this sage Vishwamitra is taking him along. So therefore it is better that you give your son, don't worry about your son Vishwamitra. It is the son of Kushika. Vishwamitra's father was Kushika, that's how he gets another name Kaushika. So don't worry, Vishwamitra will take good care of your son. Finally Vishwamitra leaves with Rama and Lakshmana. If Rama has to go, Lakshmana has to follow. Now Bala and Atibala mantras, these are few. Now Rama and Lakshmana both set along to go with Vishwamitra, and a few mantras they chant. What is this Bala and Atibala? Grihana vatsa salilam ma bhutkalasya paryayah mantragramam grihanatvam balamati balam tata. He says, you take this water, do the achmana, let there be no delay. Delay is salilam, meaning quickly do it. Then I'm going to give you mantragramam, I'm going to teach you a collection of mantras that you can chant, and also Bala and Atibala. Nashtamo najjaro va tena rupasya viparyayah nacha suptam pramattam va dharshayishyanti nairrataha. So he teaches them a few mantras saying that you will never feel tired, you will never have some disease like fever and everything. You will always remain youthful all to your life. And even though you are asleep or disturbed, even at that time also Rakshasas cannot come and harm you. So like this, there are different blessings that Vishwamitra gives. Now that is this Bala and Atibala, these are that Bala and Atibala that is being told, saying Bala is strength, Atibala is wherein nothing will come and affect you. एतत् विद्याद्वये लब्धे भविता नास्ति ते समः बलात्वतिबला चैव सर्वज्ञानस्य मातरौ. Saying that these are the topmost categories of knowledge, nothing, the mother of knowledge. So therefore there is nothing which can win over. If you know Bala and Atibala, these mantras, nothing else will be able to affect you. क्षुत्पिपासेन ते राम भविष्येते नरोत्तम बलामतिबलां चैव पठतः पतिराघव. If you recite Bala and Atibala, you will never feel hungry or thirsty also. So like this, Vishwamitra teaches many mantras. Further, they spend the night in the forest. Dasharatha nrapasuna sattamabhyam trinachayane nuchite sahoshitabhyam kushikasuta vachonu lalitabhyam sukhamivasa vibhavau vibhavaricha. Now, for both the princes, they had seen only luxury everywhere around. That day they had to sleep on the bed of grass, and Vishwamitra kept both of the boys entertained. He told them many stories, and both Rama and Lakshmana, they did not feel left out at all. They enjoyed the company of Vishwamitra. Okay, so today time is up. We will stop here.